This should just float right in the hole. There it goes. Hi, I'm Greg Ovens, and this is Ovens Rocky Mountain Bushcraft. There we go. Oh. Morning. So, I just wanted to show you, I'm still staying in my hammock. I got the tarp up. We got a skiff of snow last night, maybe half an inch or so. It's getting pretty chilly out. I keep promising I'm going to rent a place. It was -10 or -12. And I kept Finn in the truck last night because there's a group of coyotes that comes around here. And so he was in the truck where it was a little warmer for him. And I heard something in the nighttime, and now I get out and I'm looking around and I realized that I had a big grizzly bear that came right up to the tarp here and then decided to go the other way. And I thought I heard something, but here we're 15 feet away from the my hammock and my tarp, and this grizzly bear came right up to here, hammock's right there, and then decided to carry on the road here. So the grizzlies don't really hibernate, and that's how close he came. Here's some more tracks. Finn never barked, but I did hear something and I just assumed it was elk or deer, but it was a grizzly. So hopefully with the lighting you can see the track. There we go. Now you can see the size of the tracks. Big as my boot almost. So there we go. Grizzly in camp last night. I always like seeing the grizzlies, but that's pretty close for comfort when he came within about 10 or 15 feet of the hammock, and then obviously decided to go through the bush over here. Right on. Just thought I'd share that with you. This is my usual camp, but maybe I should rent a house. I'm going to set a couple of trail cams up to see if I can get some video of that bear coming through tonight again. Whether he does, we don't know. But it'd be nice to get some video of that bear. But got my fire going. Nice pile of wood. Finn thinks he's hiding, but he's not really. I see you, Finn. Fire going. My tarp and hammock. I'm going to cook something up. I do have a steak. This is not a survival thing. But that grizzly was sure cool to have so close to camp. Now, I know some of you are thinking, well, that's not cool. A lot of people, they wouldn't like that situation. But you know what? I'm not going to let it, discourage me from being here or doing what I enjoy. Because I'd rather die enjoying what I love to do than be stuck in a city and hating it. So that's the way I look at it anyway. The bear was no harm to me. Now that doesn't mean that one of these days things could change and might go bad for me. But I'm not going to let fear stop me from doing what I love. Oh, blooper. Huh. Might as well just put it in the tree. Good enough. We'll see what happens tonight. I got the trail cam set up. Maybe we'll get some footage of the bear coming in. maybe we won't. Regardless, you know, it's just cool that he's around. I love the Grizzlies. I do. Good night. So I checked the camera. No sign of my bear. I'm thinking he was probably just passing through, headed somewhere else. And but anyway, I'm going to get a fire going. I actually ran into town and grabbed some lobster and steak. I'm going to have a good dinner. I mean, you know, that's one thing I like to do when I'm out here camping in the winter like this, is eat good at least. You know, I can afford to do it because I don't have rent and I don't have hydro and the bills that a lot of people do have. So the one thing I do like to do is eat good. So I'm going to get a fire going and cook up a couple of lobster, have a steak dinner. And then I think what I want to do for the last part of this video is get out ice fishing. I haven't caught a fish since the lakes have frozen over. I'm pretty sure they're going to be safe. It's getting a little windy. It's not that pleasant right now, but gonna get out, try to catch my first fish of the season ice fishing. So do a catch and cook with that. So probably somebody, I'm sure people notice these things, but I actually went back and got my sport track. I've got a set of chains that fit this really nicely. They're a lot easier to put on than the Nissan. So I decided to go and get some lobster and bring this truck back so that I don't have an issue if I have to put chains on. It's just a lot easier with this truck. So anyway, we'll get the fire going and cook up these lobster and steak. Definitely a little chilly out. That wind is what does it. It is an elk. I don't know why they'd be bugling now. They usually bugle in September and October, but not this late usually. Oh, you got the firewood, eh? To see here, but it's a little dark out now all of a sudden. I'm just going to use the burner to cook my lobster, and then tomorrow we'll get to the lake. You want some water? One thing I like to do is take the elastic bands off the claws before I cook them. I took the one off and he's trying to get at me, but nothing like your lobster, Zach. I mean, these are just little guys we get. We get the leftovers from the East Coast. Hope the pot's big enough. This pot's pretty tiny. I think I gotta cook one at a time. That's the way it's looking. Well, that's boiling pretty good. I think it's pretty much done. I'll give it a couple more minutes. I think I'm just going to have my lobster and go to bed. No, Finn. Like I just fed you, man. Tomorrow's another day. It's not ideal for cooking my steak up, so. Nothing like the ones you get back east, like on the Atlantic. These are pretty tiny. Wow. I mean, they probably come from there, but. I think we get the leftovers. Still very good. Winter is here. That is so good. So I'm just crawling out of the hammock. Obviously we got a snowstorm overnight. I'm trying not to disturb the tarp so we can see how much, but it all caved in on me. We'll get out here and see what happened. Oh yeah, bit of snow overnight. I knocked some of it off there. This side's all caved in. Didn't completely collapse. Well, at least it won't blow around in the wind. That's how quick things can change in the mountains, I guess, eh? But actually, in a couple of weeks, I'll be in Australia where it's going to be too hot. But we got to get to the lake. Now, with all this snow, could end up needing chains. But that's what happened overnight. Snow off some of the trees. Bring it. Is that your stick? It's just tiny, you know? Very tiny fin. You're a character. We got to the lake. Most of my fishing gear is in the other truck, but I had some braided line. I did stop and get some bait, but I forgot weights. I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. Did get some bait. But I was thinking, you know, like I know my mousetrap set line worked so well. I thought I'll just do another one. A little different. Because what I'm thinking, this should just float right in the hole, is what I'm thinking. I put a couple of leader lines, steel leader lines. So one goes to the arm, and I ran it through where the trigger system is, and then I attach them together down at the bottom, and the other one just attaches to I drilled a little hole just with a drywall screw, just threaded it through, and I didn't even bring a knife, believe it or not. So once it's all set, I'll just tie my line to the bottom here, and it should work just fine. Maybe we should test it first, eh? But I think it'll float. And the only thing is, I'll tie a safety line to here to a stick, because the fish will probably just pull this right under the water. Obviously, I want you to see. Okay, it'll work, but they're gonna pull it under, so I need a safety line. I didn't bring any weights. That's kind of crazy. I should have got that. I think what I'll do to test the depth that I need for my line is use my truck keys. But I think what I'll do is take the ignition key off at least. One opens the door, one opens the ignition. But it's not likely if I tie this good with my line that I'm going to lose them. But I want to find my depth, so we'll use the keys to do that. Oh, something on the lens. So I will tie my safety line before we get down there. Probably don't need much, like a foot even. Hate to lose a fish. As I guarantee you, a half decent sized fish will pull the mouse trap down through the ice. I think I better make these mouse trap set lines and sell on my channel because they work so well. And I'm assuming, no, I don't know yet, but I'm assuming that this is gonna float. And we'll get the auger out, get down there, get it in the water and hope for the best. No guarantees with fishing, unless you're Amos Rodriguez. Okay, so now I'm not going to lose our fish when we catch one. We're ready to go. There's nothing there. Be careful, this is sharp. Oh, it's not that thick ice really like I thought it would be. So you can eat the ice, eh? Is that good? Okay. Pretty sure it's gonna float, Finn. Oh, except my finger grabbed it. Yeah, it'll float. It'll float just fine. We'll just find my depth. Like I say with my keys. I have the ignition key. I don't need these keys. Not that I want to lose them. Can you imagine if you did lose your keys and you're using your ignition key and you're stuck out here? Because it's cold out. That could be dangerous. But I thought ahead of time. Okay, let's find out how deep it is and then mark it for our trap. Watch me catch a fish with the keys. Not likely. Now we're at bottom. Okay, so I want to pull it up 1.5 feet at least. It's actually quite deep here. Just going to tie the line in here. And I'm just using these curved hooks. Hopefully you can see it's just comes down and zigzags. With braided line, you have to tie things better. It's a slippery line. It'll come loose. My mealworms. Just like that. Another one at the bottom. And just like that. Down she goes. Goes slow because I'm not using weights. It's not sitting perfectly straight. But that should not affect anything. It's floating. I just seen the trap move. But I'm sure I saw the trap move a little bit. Hasn't gone off, but something could be playing with it. Slightly. Come on, set it off. It's not going off though. Oh look. The fish came right up here. I don't know if you can see him. Came right up in the hole. Beside the mouse trap. The heck's going on there? That is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. What the heck's going on there? The trap just went off. And I didn't catch it on video. Not that time. Now we got one on here. He's not fighting hardly at all. Oh, look at this. Just a little minnow. Gee. Well, we got one with that trap. I'm going to let him go though. He's pretty tiny. That little guy will be gone. He'll be fine. But I seen the trap moving and I knew there was something playing, but it took forever for it to go off and I didn't get that on video. So I'm going to keep trying for another one, but I've been out here for a while and it's getting pretty cold. So I might have to try again tomorrow. That's just the way it is. I'm ready to warm up and try tomorrow. So we'll try this again. You know, I think because it's only been overnight, we probably just need an axe. Maybe it's thicker than I think. It has been pretty cold. Well, I guess I'll go back and get the auger. Don't want to wreck the blade either. And hopefully I don't get a bite before I get the trap set. This time I decided to leave a little bit of slush, so maybe it will float better. Yeah, that'll help. Okay, now it's kind of sitting on the slush a bit. So the only downfall I see with this method is the fish can move the trap around and it probably doesn't, the mouse trap doesn't go off as easy as if it was on a board and more secured. Still worked. I think we'll get it to work again as long as the fish are biting. I wanted to at least do one video for winter time or ice fishing, because in a few days I'm headed to Australia and it'll be different adventures over there. It's a good time of day for them to bite, but every day can be different. A little bit of slush in there seems to really help the trap. More stable now. I had to clear a little bit of ice from around it, but it's definitely floating fairly good and straight this time. Of course, if it was really cold, this wouldn't be as good either, because the water that's on the trap would freeze up, and so it probably wouldn't go off either. But I can see that it's fine for now, but I may have to keep cleaning the trap off because it is in the water. There it goes. Oh, okay, good, cool. All right, there it go. Well, you can kind of see it moving down there. Okay, we got it. We got one. So it's a good thing we have this thing. The trap, he flipped it upside down, but just like I said, he actually pulled the trap down the hole. He's trying to now again. Okay. There we go. Oh yeah, but he's better than the one yesterday. This is about 8-10 inches. So that'll do. So there you go, it did work. He pulled the trap right under the ice. And so it's good I had that safety stick. But right on, it does work. I still think putting it on a board is the better idea. But I just wanted it to work, just floating in the water, and it did. So right on. I'm just looking for a spot to cook my fish up. And I just wanted to show you something. You can see behind me how deep the snow is on the shady side of all these trees. I'll just show you here. We've got over a foot of snow. I mean, look at this tree here. And you can see that all the trees are covered in snow. And this would be a bad place to try to set a shelter up because there's just nowhere under the trees. Like the snow is all around the base of the trees. And then, by comparison, on the sunny side over here under the big ponderosas, you can see there's no snow in the trees themselves. And under the trees, there's shelter spots. So I was over there in the trees over that way. Now you see on the sunny side, under these big ponderosas, no snow in the tree itself, and shelter spots. Dry, a foot of snow, dry in this area, little patches of snow, which isn't a problem because you would have all these needles to make a bed out of. Lots of firewood right here. So this is where I'll cook my fish up, because I've got the firewood and dry spots to have a fire instead of in the snow. Right on. Needles are pretty dry. Just move some of them out of the way. Didn't bring my ferro rod either, but always carry a lighter. The tiny fish out of that lake are actually very tasty. It's like a white meat on the little guys. It's pink on the bigger ones, but very tasty fish. They really are. Probably cook in about 3 minutes. Ooh. No, that's mine. Here, you go get that. Again, I'm just cooking this fish without gutting it. I mean, it's just a little minnow. Like I say, I don't think it's necessary to clean them. I'm just eating the meat. I got parts of the branch that are blocking certain areas. I got to move it a bit once in a while. Well, I think that's done. Getting the smoke too. Perfect. I have our snack. I wouldn't call it a meal, more like a snack. Like I say, it's white. It was white meat, but they're so tasty. Those little rainbow. Oh, I love fish. I never get sick of fish. Want some fish, Finn? Just to try a piece? Hey, look out! You're stepping on the camera. Can you come over here? There you go. Eat that. No, you can't have that. You just inhale your food. You don't even chew it. I've been watching the 30-day survival challenge with Amos there. I'm reading some of the comments, and the one was pretty funny. He says, "You're too old for that, Greg. You got to quit. You're just too old to be doing those things." I thought, well, I thought about Dick Prenicky. If you haven't read about Dick Prenicky, look him up. It's in the 60s. When he was 53, spent over 30 years. He built a cabin. He had a friend that would drop off supplies in a float plane once in a while. But pretty much built his cabin, lived off the land for the most part, except for flour and sugar and coffee and things that his friend would bring him on the float plane. And he stayed out there into his 80s because he loved it. And I'm the same way. Like, I'm going to keep doing this as long as I can because that's what I want to do. I don't want to be sitting in a city or a house watching TV. That's not my style. I think next year I'm going to do another 30-day. Maybe with someone else. Or somebody else maybe from the Alone Show. I think you'll find the story he documented and filmed, his building of the cabin and his adventure out there. And basically his life while he was out there for 30-some years. Look him up. I think you'll find him interesting. And that was really good. We're going to get out of here. Oh, as I spit some of my fish out. I say don't talk with your mouth full. That's what I shouldn't have done. We're going to get on with other adventures in Australia. I want to thank you all. Thank you, subscribers. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And I'll see you when I get to Australia. There's going to be interesting stuff to do over there. And like I say, right on. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you all.